Welcome back to another Dazzle video. Today we are going over how to play against aghs. Let me first start off by saying, fuck aghs. I hate your ass. I hate your stupid red fucking body. Looks like you got sunburned. I hate your stupid big axe. Now that we got that out of the way, before we get into some of the specifics, I'm going to go over laning stage, mid game, late game. The first thing you want to realize is a hero counter is not a player counter. It's all about how you play the hero, not what hero you pick. Never, ever, ever panic when a counter is on the enemy team. Okay, so if there's silencers, aghs, axes, don't panic. Don't go, oh, this game is over. The game is not over. Hopefully at the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how to play against aghs and how to face some of the threats that he poses. Overall, aghs is a counter to what I like to call old Dazzle. Dazzle of like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Dazzle back in those days, like 2018, 2019, something around there. He was a much more of a passive healer-based hero. Dazzle would walk around like, I remember I would just follow my cores in lane, give him salves, TP to whatever lane was getting dove. You bought meck every game. You know, your ult was the freaking armor weave thing where you cast it on the ground during team fights. Yeah, it was a pretty sad, kind of boring time, but you know, those were the days where aghs was the perfect counter to Dazzle. And the reason was Dazzle's main contribution to the game was Shallow Grave. Dazzle was known as a healer, a saver. It was the only spell in the game that prevented people from dying. And aghs had that one spell in the game that could chop through that, all right, with his culling blade. However, in present day 7.35c, we have items like aghs, octorine, holy lockett. We even have a talent, 45 shadow wave heal damage. We even have a heal amplification per 10% missing, and we can keep heroes out of the range of culling blade. Let's talk about aghs as a hero. He has a small AoE stun. It actually gets pretty big if you get the level 25 talent. He has a slow. The important thing to note is the slow only works if you run away from him. It also damages you. He has counter helix, which is the main way that aghs will do damage. And then, of course, you have culling blade. All three of these skills require aghs to be right next to their opponent, which is the main limitation of this hero. As a Dazzle, we want to take advantage of that range as much as possible. We're going to go into a little bit of a replay. We're going to talk about the laning stage. The main thing about the laning stage is you want to bully the aghs. Okay, we're going to be following this aghs here. So this is a good example of how you want to play the laning stage. Aghs level 1 has a slow that doesn't even work if you run towards him. Even if he takes Q or E, you have to be right on top of him, and that's how he's going to do damage. So his only hope is really to run away from you. But if you poison touch him, you can't run away. He starts with 10 movement speed higher than you. And so if you poison touch him, you are faster than aghs. So you can basically kill him. And especially in the safe lane where the lane creeps meet all the way close to your tower, this is the perfect scenario for you to chase them, be aggressive level 1. The only thing that can stop this is if their position 4 is a hero that can slow you for a long period of time, or a hero maybe they have a Viper or something that can just turn and hit you repeatedly and kill you before you kill aghs. Those are the only hopes for the hero. Otherwise, you can go straight in, be aggressive. If you get help from your carry, that would be fantastic. Let's say you have a Spectre. He throws a Q out for you. Let's say in this case, you have a Jug. He spins for you. Let's say you have a Wraith King in your lane. He stuns for you. All these would be fantastic. Sometimes you will get carry players that don't really recognize the situation, and they just want to sit here and hit creeps. And sometimes that happens. In that case, you have to just back off, or what you can do is even go for a trade. It's going to benefit your team more if aghs' timings are slowed down greatly. So if he can't get his blink in time, he's going to be useless, and you're still going to be able to cast your spells. It's more important that aghs doesn't get his items rather than you getting your items. If you can go for a trade where you die but he dies, that's great, and your carry will get some free farm at the end of the day. Okay, so in this situation, you just got to hit him. So aghs realized that he's dead, so he's actually saying, okay, I'm going to just take as much out of this Dazzle as I can. So he's just turns and hits, but really he's not hoping. He realized that he's dead. And the only thing that Zeus can do as a position 4 is nuke me and hit me. But in this case, we get the kill. That's the dream start scenario as Dazzle. You want to be as aggressive as possible. But imagine if I had just stayed on the outside and kind of just did a few auto attacks and didn't really do a lot of active things, didn't cast my spells. This lane would be much different. aghs would be more tanky. He would be harder and harder to kill. But you want to take advantage right away. If you have a chance to poison touch him and chase him down, even if you get really low, go for it. Okay, going along with this, it's very important that you want to control where the lane meets. The ideal position is just like the first wave, where the lane meets way by your tier 1. So pulling is very important in these matchups, making sure that you control the camps. Try and block the big camp if you can, but it's not the end of the world if you can't, because you can still pull the big camp to your creep wave. Okay, so at this position, I'm again thinking about being aggressive. Being aggressive here does a couple things for me. Number one, we can possibly get a kill on aghs. Think of poison touch as a window of time where your kill threat is there. Once I cast it, I have 5 seconds where he cannot return back to the creep wave without getting slowed even more and that window being refreshed. So he has to make a decision. Does he walk away and miss 5 seconds worth of creeps? Or does he risk getting killed by staying in the creep wave and getting one last hit? Okay, so you want to make him make these decisions. So that was a good illustration of your level 2 power spike. Dazzle against aghs has a really big level 2 power spike. So level 1 and level 2 are both big power spikes for you. You want to take advantage of those power spikes. You want to cast your spells at those times. The reason Dazzle has a big power spike is now you're going to level Shadow Wave. Shadow Wave is really, really good against aghs because aghs as a hero wants to be around the enemy creeps. Well, that's exactly what Dazzle wants too on the other side. So if I'm a Dazzle, I want aghs to be surrounded by a bunch of my creeps so I can heal bomb him. And so you're going to take advantage of that fact by heal bombing aghs as soon as you get level 2 and then chasing him down with poison touch until he gets under tower. The second thing that happens when you are aggressive is the fact that you can secure Lotus Pools. Lotus Pools are something that you want to secure as much as you can right now at 7.35C, because if you don't get the Lotus Pool, the enemy is getting the Lotus Pool. So you're denying the enemy mana and HP, and you're giving it to yourself. In Dazzle versus aghs, you want to be casting as many spells as possible. Your spells are inherently good against aghs, and so if you can cast spells, you are going to be in good shape. Okay, so in the lane, whenever aghs is going for a last hit, whenever he's getting close to the creep wave, you want to try and get a big heal bomb in, poison touch him, hit him a few times. Now, in this case right here, the lane is not where I want it to be. And the reason is it's not far enough from his tower where I think I can kill him. This is not enough distance where I think I can chase him down and kill him. So what that means is I need to get the lane back by pulling these creeps, or if the big camp was spawning, pulling these creeps. Okay, so use the pulls to get the creep wave back to your tower and then chase him down. So I pull the wave at 24. And you want to take advantage of the fact that axes really want to get last hits. So I poison touch him, I open that window, and now I make him make the decision of, do I want to go for the creeps and take a bunch of damage? Or do I want to walk away for 6 seconds and then come back and miss 2 creeps? In this case, he decides to go for this creep right here, which ends up being a big mistake because I keep refreshing the duration and he gets slower and slower, and I get the kill because of my level 3 power spike. Level 3 power spike is also a great power spike for Dazzle, just because poison touch becomes so much stronger. So I kite back, I hit, I kite back, I hit, and when he decides to run away, I chase. And there's the kill right there. Unfortunately, one of the things that aghs can do is jungle. Once aghs gets Vanguard, he can jungle ancients, he can jungle any creep camp on the map. So that makes it kind of hard to just kill his game. So most axes, if they're good, are going to go into the jungle. They're going to stack camps. They're going to farm camps. That means your lane is effectively won. Your carry has great free farm, and you can go and help other lanes if you need to. Now let's move on to the mid game. Once aghs has blink, that is his next big power spike. Just think about it like this. If aghs jumps on you as a Dazzle player, you are going to die. What goes along with this is you need to have great vision. The vision battle is big. So in the mid game, you are now thinking about, what does the enemy see? What can I see? Where is the aghs? All right, so let me show you an example of what happens if you don't have vision of the opponent. So we're pushing the tier 2. They were smoked, so I didn't see this coming. All right, it's easy as that. If aghs gets on top of you in the mid game, you are dead. So you have to be standing in a range where even if he blinks, he cannot reach you. This is why Ether Lens is such a great item against aghs. Holy Lockett is more of a luxury buy. If you're having a great game, you can buy Holy Lockett. But the main mid-game items that are great against aghs are Ether Lens, Holy Lockett, and Shard. I'm going to add wards and sentry wards and smokes to this just because they're so important in controlling the vision. Let's talk about aghs in the late game. Dazzle versus aghs, you want to play it the same way. Conceptually as a hero, aghs does not change from the mid game to late game. It's just that he will have more ways to deal with your slow. Maybe he has upgraded drums on his team so he doesn't get slowed with your poison touch. Things like that. You don't want to be anywhere near him. You don't want to get hit by Shivas, or else he can chase you down. You don't want to get blinked on. So having vision, setting up the vision becomes very, very important. Lotus is one timing that you want to make sure you understand, because if you cast your poison touch on aghs and somebody or himself puts the Lotus Orb on him, you will get hexed. You want to make sure you either cast poison touch on somebody else, or you want to wait until the Lotus Orb goes away and then you can cast your poison touch on him. Let's talk about Dazzle's dream scenario when facing aghs. So when facing aghs, these are the best items that you can buy. Number one, you want your aghs. Okay, you want your shard, you want your aghs. Dazzle's aghs is the number one aghs counter in all stages of the game because it counters his call and it counters his helix. It also makes it extremely hard for aghs to culling blade because it's going to make it very, very difficult for aghs to estimate how much damage he's going to do with his counter helix. So Dazzle's aghs does way more heal than before. I went over this in my aghs video, but it does at minimum 250% extra heal. If there's more allies, it can go up to 600, 800% heal. So you can be healing people for 800, 1000. And if you have octorine core, you can do it on a basically 2-second cooldown. Blink is useful for positioning. In the late game, there's a lot of team fights that could be happening one side of the screen and then the other side of the screen. So you want to be able to react once aghs jumps in, and you want to be able to cast your heal and your grave reliably. I always like to go range for that specific reason. Since you don't want to be called, you want to be standing in a space that is much further away. So for example, I want to be way over here. And if aghs is over here, I can jump and I could still hit him from super duper far away. Hex is always great for controlling any melee hero, but especially aghs. Being able to control him from far distance is always good. And then BKB is a great item for just general survivability, just in case the other team has some sort of silence. At this point in the game, it's very difficult to predict all the different variations of a disable that are going to come at you. So having a BKB is very useful at the late game. And then the tier 5 item, some sort of cast range bonus, is great. And the seer stone is amazing because of the vision it provides, which, like I said before, when you play against aghs is extremely crucial. Some of the other honorable mentions for tier 5 items: I would go force boots as a very good choice because you can zoom around the map at a very high speed. So if you didn't know, you can basically zoom off of cooldown, which is cool. So you have blink, you can zoom, and you just become very mobile. You can also TP on a very low cooldown in the late game. So it's a very cool item if you want to dispel yourself and just keep moving around the map. I think force boots are very underrated for Dazzle. Book of the Dead is always a classic in the late game because you can push waves. And Dazzle's Book of the Dead is stronger than any of the heroes because you can refresh the duration much quicker than all other heroes, meaning you can send out more Books of the Dead more frequently. So if they get killed, you can just resummon them, send them down a lane if you're trying to push a lane in the late game. Depending on the game, Mirror Shield can be good if you need another form of defense, and Arcanist armor can be very good as well based on the game. If you know you're going to get jumped on, having this force field is very good. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Hope you guys learned something, and good luck in your next games as Dazzle.